This is Corey Clothier again, founder and director of GenerationAV, Stantec's autonomous mobility team. So I'm super excited today about the conversation we're going to have. It's with Jerry and Joe, the founders and leaders of Icarus Ops. And it's a fantastic company. I think that they're critical for autonomous vehicle safety, and that's essentially what the discussion is going to be about. So if you could kind of share a little bit of how you think your systems can help improve the safety, reliability, and eventually compliance with autonomous vehicles.
All right, Corey, yeah, you've got it right. The key point is that when humans interact with these systems, we first need to know how they're interacting, and we need to measure it, and that way we can get better. So we find there's a lot of randomness or chaos in some of the systems, and these are complex tools. So if we want to have good outcomes, we need to know how we're going to interact with these systems, and we can use that as a baseline to get better. And this is exactly what commercial aviation has done over the years. We started off using paper processes, and we did our level best to never make a mistake. But the airline industry did an experiment using digital checklists, which are interactive. It's not an editable PDF on a tablet. It's a system that guides a team through accomplishing tasks without making errors. And they found a 46% reduction in checklist errors when they used a digital checklist system. And now they say using those systems, the number of errors is statistically insignificant. So they've really taken a significant failure point, which is trying to do a process following guidance, and eliminated the error from those processes.
What we're really doing is taking the best practices in safety from aviation industry, which you guys have loads of experience with, and we're applying them to the autonomous ground vehicle industry. So Jerry, could you kind of talk about that a little bit of how we're taking these aviation best practices and applying them to autonomy or autonomous vehicles?
Sure. Well, if you look at commercial aviation over the last 10 years, since 2009 was the last major hull loss, here we are in 2021. So you're talking about, 14 years of perfect performance in U.S. carrier aviation they had. And that to me is mind-blowing when you consider at the same time that we've increased our exposure, meaning more and more people are traveling all the time, and yet the industry has become safer. Now, if you combine that with the pressure that's on the commercial airline industry to be efficient, they're always trying to reduce cost, right? The margins are very thin. I don't think people realize that. The value prop comes in autonomous vehicles is if we can increase safety and increase operations simultaneously, then you're in a huge win, right? And that's really what Icarus tries to do is bring that standardization in so that the safety goes hand in hand with operations to not only increase your level of safety, but also increase your efficiency.
Nice. I want to talk about safety culture.
Sure.
How do you help a company or an organization create a safety culture?
We've spent our entire careers focusing on safety and human error, right? Human-machine interface, and how do we make it better? I mean, that's really the background of the company. And what that does to you as you mature is it actually makes you think, well, everybody makes mistakes, right? And you become more accepting of human error. So when you build a system like the Icarus system or what the airlines use, this digital checklist system, all these things, what we're accepting at the very beginning is that human beings are going to make errors, right? So how do we focus a system to trap those errors? And in the airline industry, what we use now is called the threat and error management system. And we put in barriers like training, procedures, outside resources. There's a whole laundry list of barriers to trap those errors because we're expecting people to make mistakes. And then when we build procedures, we put the right fidelity at the right places.
We realize in autonomous vehicles, when it comes to the human element, oftentimes that's not available. But our systems can provide kind of a digital co-pilot, if you will. And when it comes to critical things like making sure the vehicle sensors are all showing green before the vehicle's released, we can put the right fidelity at that step by having the operator in the step capture a photograph of the sensor screen showing the vehicle was all green And again, it'll be date time stamped before they let the vehicle go. And as Jerry said, it's really about fidelity. Most companies don't really understand the power of a true checklist. They list everything they need to do, and they think that's a checklist. Well, actually, a well-defined checklist has that fidelity. So if it's something that could break equipment, there's a caution there that says, hey, if you don't do this right, you could damage this equipment. If it's something that could hurt somebody, there's a warning just prior to tell them how somebody could be hurt. If it's really critical and you need evidentiary evidence of it, then we can take a photograph. And when you do these things, when a technician knows he has to show a clean green screen of sensors before he lets a vehicle go, he's not taking that picture until it's right. So it really drives that error to zero. And this is what we're after, right? Everybody wants to do a good job, and we want to make it easy for them to do it, and we do. So that's a big part of the safety culture.
I don't know if anybody else has anything like you guys have created. Your system exponentially improves safety. It ensures compliance. It verifies compliance. It usually will increase efficiency, which in turn, with all of that stuff I just said, also reduces cost. So I think you guys are critical in the path of autonomy, especially as we start to remove humans from the cockpit and from the vehicles. So I'm a fan.